Welcome to another video. Today's video, I'm gonna bring you through a dietitian-inspired, realistic weekly meal prep. I'm gonna make 3 different recipes. I'm gonna walk you along through the entire thing, showing you what that looks like. Meal prepping is one of the best things that you can do to set yourself up for success for the week when it comes to following your nutrition or fitness-related goals. There's so many ways to go about meal prepping. There's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's gonna be different depending on their schedule, what their week looks like, their lifestyle. So a couple of things that I look for when I meal prep is number 1, I want to make recipes that taste good. I wanna make recipes that are easy to prepare, so I'm not in the kitchen for hours at a time. And then 3, obviously recipes that are nutrient dense, and again, are gonna help me crush my goals. So I like to be as efficient as possible when I'm going through my weekly meal prep. All of these recipes you can find for free on my website, listed under my recipe section with the full ingredient list, amounts, and directions. Let's get right into it. The first recipe that I'm making is baked feta and spinach stuffed chicken with a side salad. Let's get started. Step number 1 for this recipe is to add a few ingredients to a large bowl. So first we have fire roasted diced tomatoes. I already drained them. I'm gonna add a few cans to the bowl. The amount of ingredients for this recipe is gonna depend on how many servings you're making. Some people will prep for the full 7 days. Some people will prep for 4 days. It really just depends again on your schedule. So for this recipe on my website, I have each individual ingredient amount listed for 1 standard serving, so you can adjust as needed. Again, obviously everybody's nutrition needs are gonna be a little bit different, so just using it as like a general guideline. Next up, we are gonna add some feta cheese. Then some spinach. You can either chop this up on a cutting board or you can just kind of chop it up with your hands and add it to the bowl. That's what I'm gonna do to save time. I'm adding a little bit of olive oil and then some seasonings. For seasonings, I'm adding a little bit of crushed red pepper, a little bit of paprika, and then lemon pepper seasoning. If you prefer certain seasonings over others, you can personalize it to you. You can't really go wrong with this recipe. After all those ingredients are added, I'm just going to give it a stir and mix it up. It looks like this. Then we're gonna simply add the tomato and feta mixture and stuff the chicken. I'm using regular chicken breasts and I'm just gonna cut down the middle of the chicken breast just to have room to stuff it with the mixture. You wanna make sure that you don't cut all the way through, but then we're just gonna take a spoon and top it with the tomatoes, spinach, and feta. I'm gonna repeat the exact same thing for all of the chicken breasts, and just note, it doesn't have to look perfect, it doesn't have to look pretty. I'm not a professional chef, just trying to make meal prep recipes to set myself up for success. So stuff all of the chicken and then we'll place it in the oven. Meal prepping can be a daunting task at first, but again, it does not have to be fancy. You can make easy, simple recipes that sound good and that are personalized to you. And I think it just gets easier and more comfortable the more you do it. On my website, I have a course called 14 Days to Improving Your Relationship with Food and Nutrition. It is a 14-day course that just talks about some of the basics of nutrition and helps you build a routine that, again, is individualized and sustainable to you and your unique needs. I have an entire day dedicated on meal prepping, and I just give some best practices on how to start meal prepping and some tips for success. One tip that I talk about during that day in my course is to break up your meal planning and meal prepping. I think if you're planning your meals, getting your groceries, doing all the prep in one day, if you like that, that's perfect. But I think sometimes realistically, it can be very overwhelming and take like the entire day to do. So I recommend to split it up. One day, make your grocery list, get your groceries, and then another day, actually do the prep. So again, you split it up a little bit, it's more realistic to a weekly schedule. Now I'm gonna put the stuffed chicken into the oven. I preheated the oven to 375. I'm gonna set a timer for about 30 minutes and see where we're at, but I'll keep them in the oven until they are fully cooked. Moving right along, while the chicken is in the oven, I'm going to prepare the side salad. For meal prepping this, I like to just cut some of my vegetables, and then the day of, I'll actually add everything together with the dressing. So I won't ever add the dressing until the day of, otherwise it will obviously get soggy. But just to have the chicken prepped and then have some of the vegetables cut up, I feel like it's like a 5-minute lunch or dinner idea when prepping this in advance. So first I'm gonna cut some cucumbers into small pieces. This side salad is very basic. If you have favorite vegetables, another way to just personalize a simple salad to your individual needs and preferences. I'm chopping up some peppers into small pieces to add to the salad as well. The last thing I'm cutting up for the salad is just an onion, so also chopping it into small pieces and then adding to the mixture. I typically get most of my groceries from Aldi, so a lot of the recipes on my website, you can find the ingredients at Aldi. Not all of them though, but I would say the majority. That's all the prepping that I need to do for the salad. Like I said, I'll just cut up some of those vegetables, I'll cover it and then store it in the refrigerator. So the day of, when I'm preparing the salad, it just goes a little bit quicker. When preparing the salad, I'm gonna add in this spring mix from Aldi. Some of those vegetables that I just cut up. Then I'll sprinkle on just a little bit of this cheddar cheese blend. Adding the same seasonings that I used for the feta mixture, just for simplicity, but again, you can add whatever seasonings that you prefer. For the dressing, I'm just gonna add a little bit of balsamic vinaigrette. This is what the side salad looks like after it's prepared. Again, the only prep here is just cutting the vegetables in advance. If you prefer, the chicken is still in the oven. So once that is fully cooked, I'll show you what this full meal looks like when it's all complete. The chicken is fully cooked. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna add 2 separate meal prep containers and then store in the refrigerator. On the day of, I'll just microwave and then we're ready to go. So this is the final meal. We have our stuffed chicken and then our side salad. Next up, the second recipe that I'm making is a broccoli cheddar egg bake with turkey bacon. This is very simple, quick to prepare, and is packed with protein, so a perfect breakfast idea when you're on the go. The first ingredient here is plain frozen broccoli. I love using the frozen. It saves time to just place in the microwave. It's still packed with nutrients. It doesn't have anything added, so perfect option again to save time. The next ingredient I'm using is turkey bacon for this egg bake, so I'm gonna place the broccoli in the microwave and then cook the turkey bacon. While the broccoli is in the microwave and the turkey bacon is cooking, I'm just going to chop up an onion into small pieces. The bacon is fully cooked, the broccoli is microwaved. Now I just put the onions back on that same pan. I'm gonna let them cook for a few minutes while I chop the broccoli into small pieces. Once the broccoli is chopped, I'm gonna add it to this pan. This is the pan that's gonna go into the oven to fully cook the bake. Now I'm adding the cooked turkey bacon to the pan. I'm just using my hands to break it up into small pieces. Then we're gonna take and top with the cooked onions. Then I'm just going to mix all together and then set this pan aside. For the egg base, I'm gonna take a large bowl and crack some eggs and then fully whisk. Now I'm adding cottage cheese to the mixture. If you don't like cottage cheese, you can skip this. It's such a great way to get in protein. For seasoning here, I'm using the same lemon pepper seasoning that I used for the first recipe. This is my go-to. Then I'm gonna mix and fully combine the eggs and then the cottage cheese, and then we're just gonna pour the egg mixture on top of the vegetables. I'm gonna use a spoon again, just to go in and combine everything together. The last step before putting it into the oven, I'm using this Mexican cheese blend. I'm just gonna top the entire dish with cheese, and then I'm gonna place it in the oven for about 20 minutes. This is the egg bake freshly out of the oven. To store this, I'll cover it and put it in the refrigerator, and then for breakfast in the morning, I'll cut a piece and then microwave for a few minutes. That brings me to my last recipe for lower sugar, almond flour, birthday cake, energy bites. This recipe is super, super quick to whip up and just store in the refrigerator for an easy snack idea, again, on the go. All you need for this recipe is to mix the ingredients into a bowl. So my first ingredient is almond flour. Next ingredient is peanut butter powder. Then we have almond butter. You can use any nut butter of choice. Cashew butter is also good. Then I'm using light agave syrup. You could also use pure maple syrup as well. Then I'm adding a small amount of maple extract, almond extract, and then vanilla extract. I love baking with different extracts because it gives flavor without adding a bunch of unnecessary added sugar. Then we're just gonna mix and fully combine all ingredients together. It should look like this when it's fully combined. The last ingredient here is just to top with some sprinkles. This is one of my newest obsessions. It tastes like edible cookie dough to me. This is a great, easy snack idea, like I said, when you're on the go during the day. It has a little bit of protein and it's packed with healthy fats, so that can just really help with hunger levels throughout the day. These are the finished energy bites. Same thing with these, I'll cover them and then store them in the refrigerator. That concludes my weekly meal prep. Again, I think it's so helpful to set aside some time to plan and prep for the upcoming week to be set up for success when it comes to your nutrition goals. Again, all of these recipes can be found on my website under the recipe section. You can also check out my website for my home workout program and my nutrition course. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.